Thank you, Madam President, dear colleagues. The resolution of last April 1990, as it's well known, was clear in providing the conditions for Russia to come back into the Assembly, and I trusted that the Minsk agreements would be the basis for a return to normality through respect for the ceasefire and a dialogue. However, the reality is very different. And the hopes of the Minsk solution were dashed with thousands killed, people, children, women dying each day on both sides, with refugees amounting to more than 1.5 million in Ukraine and outside the country. The Crimean Tatar situation is appalling. There's been a crackdown on the press and in the Donbass and the Crimean region. There have been terrorist acts in Odessa, Kiev, and Kharkiv. And there is now been an attack on the civilians in Mariupol with 30 dead and 100 injured. There have been attacks against the civil population, as we've seen in Mariupol and Donetsk. So I ask how a country like Russia, which knew this week that we were going to have an important debate on the credentials of the country, has done nothing to reduce the tension, but it's rather increased it. Russia is a party to the Minsk agreements, and it has the authority as of now to release Nadia Savchenko, who has parliamentary immunity, which Russia has not respected, as we've heard today. Russia has the power to protect the border with Ukraine and prevent the passage of mercenaries, soldiers, and arms across that border. Russia has the power to exert its influence on the rebels in Ukraine and stop the war right now. For all these reasons, distinguished colleagues, the EPP, the group which I represent here, has to note the lack of will on the Russian side to reduce tension and to comply with the Minsk agreement and stop the war. I'm a fervent advocate of dialogue, consensus, and above all, peace. This assembly is the right place for the representatives of the Russians and the Ukrainians, together with us, to have a dialogue and to debate the issues. But for this, we need the conditions which were rightly listed by Mr. Shenach in his excellent report. The proposal of our group, by an overwhelming majority, is that there's no objective reason for returning the voting rights to the Russian delegation. And if there is no progress between now and April, then we could then have another debate and reconsider this if there are positive changes. And I announce on behalf of our group that our group is going to reject all of the amendments presented to the report except 13, 29, 27, and 28, so long as the oral sub-amendment is adopted for 23 and 22, which we will vote upon in due course. That is the position of our group, and we will also listen to the proposal made by the rapporteur, Mr. Shenach, with respect to a new oral sub-amendment for a position then to be taken in due course.